Hey, Dragon Dreamers, Gina Virginia Casella here, Spiritual Biz Entrepreneur, and the one behind the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. Let me just brighten things up here for you. Today, we're going to talk about discipline. This is your bonus today for Dream Alchemist. So, those of you not familiar with Dream Alchemist, it's the membership in the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. That membership, all the other memberships are included. So it's the best Dragons deal to get in on. Prices are going up significantly 2026. Please, Dragon Dreamers, be sure you get in on these memberships. The Dream Alchemist, you can read all the details on Buy Me a Coffee. So as a bonus, you get to meet with yours truly every Thursday, assuming I'm available. But I do promise one Thursday a month, and I've got all those dates mapped out. So mark your calendars, Dragon Dreamers. Today is your opportunity to share with me your dream journals or any questions or comments you have. So when we meet once a month on the designated date, the date that I promised, the one Thursday a month, that's where I'll do an actual mini lesson with you. And then the rest of the month, it's just whatever comes up. And if you're feeling like you'd like me to make a special mini video to add to the Conscious Evolution series, that's our special video series for the Dream Alchemist, well, you just let me know because I've got all kinds of videos to make. It's my absolute thrill and pleasure. And I have no problem prioritizing something. And that's part of this ongoing reflective practice, this co-dreaming that we're doing. You know, when you're dream journaling, it's a martial arts you have to build, and bridging your dream life with your waking life is very real. And just like any martial arts, or like any athlete for that matter, you need to make sure that you're consistently working out, and you don't want to get stressed out about it, right? You want to work out in a way just like um, the way your muscles would respond. A lot of folks out there, they think they need to take medication because their body's on the achy side. But you know what? If you just go for a walk and do things like that to get the natural lubricant in your body going, then before you know it, you forget that you even have aches and pains. So discipline, discipline, discipline. And um, that's what I thought some of you might want to talk about today. At this moment, nobody's tuned in live. I would like to open up some sacred space, and then let's talk about discipline. And maybe by then somebody will be live with us. I know I've always got lots to say, and I want to show you some discipline and how my morning routine works and has shifted. So, without further ado, we're going to do one of my favorite things, and that's open up some sacred space. If you have a candle, if it's not already lit, please light it, get your incense going. And I was just mentioning in one of the videos that I love a huge kitchen table. You know, when Rosie and I get our condo by the beach, that's going to be a priority. I really miss my kitchen table. Let me know in the comments what your workspace looks like and sounds like. And I like the kitchen table because it doesn't have drawers. You know, I like lots of leg room, and I like having a chair on wheels, and I just kind of slide everywhere. And my union colleagues used to always kind of laugh at me because in our local union office, we'd have big tables, and we'd have a big square rectangle kind of shape, right? And like each side was designated, in my paperwork was everywhere. And I often worked alone as the district professional development chair for the Langley School District. I was on a joint committee, and I would process with the committee $30,000 for professional development for teachers in Langley anyways, to go towards their professional learning. And I just would do that by myself, and I would organize everything and scatter it all out. And my colleagues, they would be like, "Oh, who's here? We didn't mean to interrupt your meeting." And it's like, I'm just having a meeting by myself here, processing things, doing things behind the scenes. So let me know if that's you. And if I could have my dream table, um, it would probably be some kind of like L shape, maybe one over here and one over there, different corners of the room, so I can slide my chair all around. I don't like to clean up messes. I'm a big fan of um, organized disorganization. All right, so opening up some sacred space. I use my spirit water here that I made, and today I'd like to read from Alberto Villoldo's book, Shaman, Healer, and Sage. As part of my homework, I got to do some reading. I'm really enjoying it. I've always been a fan of Alberto. But on page 135, you can find the invocation. So you can find it online too. You can just do a Google search. But I thought, what? Like, if you want to say the exact words, you can find it here. You can buy Alberto's book on Amazon. And I always like to try and make it my own. So today it might sound a little bit different for those of you who have been following me. And I always like to share resources. Okay. So for me, the South is over here, but I'm going to remain facing the camera. If you, however, would like to turn your chair and face the South, I lovingly encourage you to do that. When somebody else is calling in the four winds and whatnot, I like to face the winds as well, the directions. So without further ado, here we go. And the shaman is the number one tool. So I did buy a rattle. I've been using my own rattle, but you know what? I can use that as a rattle. There's videos you can watch about me. I'm going to remake those videos too and update them just as part of the Conscious Evolution series. But this here, here, or even this, my earrings. So the sounds we make are sacred, even farting, whether it's a real fart or an armpit fart, or if you're just like, right? So I'm really stepping into it, my voice in particular. And that's bridging the dream life with the waking life. That's why I'm sharing this with you, because in my dream life, I make videos and hang out with you. And so um, I'm having a fun time playing a trick on my mind, because it's like, am I in my dream right now making this video talking to you? Because I'm not even wearing my dreams. I was going to mention that too. It's right here. And when I'm dream journaling, I like to wear it, and I'll make a special video another time about that. Okay. I'm just excited. And I see that there's some people in the chat too who are ready. So thank you for joining. Sounds like some folks in the chat have their candles ready to rock and roll. Let's do this. To the winds of the south, great serpent, wrap your coils of light around us. Teach us to shed the past the way you shed your skin, to walk softly on the earth. Teach us the beauty way. Aho! To the winds of the west, Mother Jaguar, protect our medicine space. Teach us the way of peace, to live impeccably. Show us the way beyond death. Aho! To the winds of the north, hummingbird, grandmothers and grandfathers, ancient ones, come and warm your hands by our fires. Whisper to us in the wind. We honor you who have come before us, and you who will come after us, our children's children. Aho. To the winds of the east, great eagle condor, come to us from the place of the rising sun. Keep us under your wing. Show us the mountains we only dare to dream of. Teach us to fly wingtip to wingtip with the great spirit. Aho. Mother Earth, we've gathered for your healing. All of us, all of your children, the stone people, the plant people, the four-legged, the two-legged, the creepy crawlies, the finned and the furred and the winged ones, all of our relations. Aho. Father Sun, Grandmother Moon, to the star nations, Great Spirit, you who are known by 1,000 names, and you who are the unnameable one. Thank you for bringing us together and allowing us to sing the song of life. Aho! That was the prayer for creating sacred space provided by Alberto Villoldo in his book, Shaman, Healer, and Sage. So if you're interested in shamanism, take the course like I took. The energy medicine practitioners training by the four winds. All right. Let's open up the Viracocha, my Viracocha from the heart space, connecting to my breath, reaching up into that eighth chakra, golden light. Golden light energy cascading down all around me, shifting into timelessness, sacred space. For those who would like to receive, I am now going to be extending this sacred space right onto you, from me to you, connecting with my heart space, my breath connecting to the ecosphere around me. Hands are concentrating that golden light, and here it comes to those who would like to receive it. Cascading down, golden lights, cascading, going down, drifting down, 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 all around you, creating that nice bubble, that protective space where we can communicate and be with spirit. Let me know in the chat if you feel any shifts. I also want to welcome my guides, Polaris, Amanda, Toby, the Wise and Well Whale and Orca Elders, all of the ones who present themselves in my gemstone readings. So, as my own journey unfolds, I always open up sacred space now. And so, even when I'm doing mini gemstone readings, when I'm doing them live, I will open up sacred space because that is the space I am now operating at. And it was reinforced to me. And so um, I feel really in alignment with myself, and I'm really thankful for the connections that I've made with the Dragon Dreamers. So let's dare to dream. So, just a reminder, this is a bonus. I'm here hanging out with you on YouTube, and it's an opportunity for Dragon Dreamers to share with me. So, today I'm not providing you with a lesson. Today is an opportunity for you to engage with me in the chat. I'd love to hear about your dream journals, and I'm interested in discipline in particular because that was the first video. If you didn't watch the video, don't worry, you can catch the replay. The first 4 or 5 videos are free under the Conscious Evolution video series. This month is a bit of a promotion. Next month, I'm going to have paid members on Zoom with me so you can show me pictures of your dream journal. And please, Dragon Dreamers, I really must insist, the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. You don't have to be a paid member to belong to it. You just join. It's on Facebook. It's absolutely free. There's free resources for you. Also, there's free resources on YouTube. But the Facebook group, the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, that's where you can post pictures of your dream journal, and you can make 1 minute to 3 minute videos. If you need to make multiple 1 minute to 3 minute videos, I really urge you to do so because I want to know all about your dreams, how you're manifesting. It's important to track your progress. And I can't say it enough, like any martial arts or any athlete, it is consistent day by day. Absolutely, you're going to have those days you spend more time, less time, but doing it every day, documenting your progress. So let's talk about discipline. If anybody would like to participate in the comments, let me know how that's going. Um, those of you who have never dream journaled before, it might be a harsh reality check in for you that you don't even have a morning routine at all. You're always running late, you're always stressed out, and now you're trying to do this dream journaling and it's just super overwhelming, you know? Or maybe by the time you finally got into it, you had to stop dream journaling because now you had to meet the demands of your waking life and your 3D reality making your way to work. So let us know in the comments if that applies to you. And if you catch this video in 500 years from now, please let me know in the comments because I do get a notification and I absolutely delight in reading the comments and folks who are catching the replay. Even when I'm shining the Witakocha opening sacred space, that energy carries right into the replays. It really does. So, some of you who are dream journaling for the first time, you might be the opposite. You're already in a morning routine, and this is a bit of a smoother transition for you because you're not super stressed out in the morning. So, let me know in the comments if that applies to you. And if you catch this replay, absolutely, in the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective, even if you have no idea what your picture means, you just took the black crayon and did a zigzag. It's what I did. Please post it. Post it, post it, post it. So, in the discipline video, we talked about discipline. Who wants to talk about discipline, right? But I can't say it enough. How much do you want this? And that's why I don't work with push energy. I'm only working with pull energy, right? So when I first started running my own business, I kept chasing after people who were not ideal clients. They were not ideal dragon dreamers. And I was just so passionate to share my interests that I unintentionally was pushing my services on people and they weren't interested, or people had an understanding that I was just going to bop them on the head and they were magically going to be, for example, 40 pounds lighter in a couple of weeks. And um, that's not how any kind of mind reprogramming works. There needs to be a biology of belief not with me, but with you, the client, the dragon dreamer. You have to have a biology of belief that you are bridging your dream life with your waking life. And you need to have a biology of belief that every day that you sit down and dream journal and do what you need to do, that you are getting one step closer. Even if it's a tiny step, it's one step closer to your goal. And if you're living consciously, because that's what the Dream Alchemist is all about, bridging your dream life and your waking life, living consciously so you can die consciously. And hey, if you don't die consciously and you end up being one of those ghosties, look for me because I have training now. I can do extractions. And you don't have to be afraid of that because extractions are a beautiful thing, talking about dreams and nightmares, and I will be making a video on nightmares. Um, you know, in the movies, we hear about um, mind reprogramming and people controlling other people, and that kind of stuff I feel is true with technology. And that's scary. And that's why our story medicine is important. And it's another reason why dream journaling is important because when you dream journal, it gives you permission to step into the absurd. Um, if you could put things in cartoon land, we can talk about things that make us uncomfortable in a way that is presented in a lighthearted way as opposed to, other methods. So when it also comes to extractions, a lot of people get a bit uncomfortable and they start thinking about exorcisms. And essentially, that's what it is. It's removing something that's attached to you that should not be there. Whether it's an energy or an entity, we can have conversations about that, but it's safe. And I used to bridge my dream life before I became a shaman. I would bridge my dream life with my waking life, and I would send folks to the pine tree forest. So I've got a bunch of folks in my dream space hanging out in the pine tree forest that I extracted. And once I get my crystal, they're all going to be illuminated. Maybe they already are illuminated. That's the biology of belief that I'm working with. So I'm feeling really good. Let me know in the comments if you know what I'm talking about: soul retrieval, extractions, illuminations. And if you're just tuning in, I was just having a little laugh because I was talking about living consciously so you can die consciously. Those who are not dying consciously, they're not dying saying, I love you. They're not dying, I forgive you. They're not dying with a satisfied mind. They're dying feeling disgruntled. They know they're dying with false inhibiting beliefs. They know they're dying not being in right relationship. They're dying unconsciously and then they die and they just can't cross over. And sometimes they're not even aware that they're dead. They really genuinely don't even know because the way they died was traumatic. And then because they died unconsciously, um, it's very confusing. And so, this is another reason why it's important to talk about dreams because we can talk about different realms, different dimensions. So, you can think about planet Earth, you've got your pieces of land, the lines on the map are an illusion, right? Try to see your dream life like that. You have a map, a story map inside your mind, and you get to create the illusions. You get to say, okay, this over here is India, that space over there is Canada. Those lines are all illusion, right? The power of having a dream map to work with, a map inside your dream, is you can take this piece and put it over there. You can take that and put it over there. You can merge things together. You're not inhibited or bound by anything. And in this 3D reality, we're so bound and inhibited by so many things, especially our critical thinking. So this dream bridging that we do pushes and pushes and pushes the critical thinking that we do, the story species that we are, how it's directly linked to our biology. All of these factors are important because did you have a dream or did the dream have you? Right? So there's always so much to say. Today's bonus is about discipline. So, discipline, discipline, discipline. I want to know, what tools do you have and are they working out for you? Maybe some of you still got to go and pick up some supplies. What are you using in the meantime? Oh, nothing. That's not an appropriate answer. What are you using in the meantime? Draw a picture, find a pen, find a crayon, go to the dollar store. Like, unless you're camping and you legit don't have anything, like, you're using the sand, okay? If you're tuning into this and you're camping, that means you've got some kind of camera, electronic, you can take a picture of it, okay? I don't expect you to cut your finger and start writing with your blood. Those of you who have been following me, absolutely. Pull out your tampon, use it as a paintbrush. My dream journals are full of period blood. And, the more I talk about it, the more empowered I feel. So many folks just completely disgusted and grossed out. And, to each their own. And I'm looking forward to this divine feminine expression and connection, our blood, literally, the feminine blood, the blood from the very womb and tomb, sacred blood, sacred stain, someone like myself, a female biological. I've had my menstruations. I started in grade 2, and then by grade 3, it was in full effect. And it's interesting when we talk about the dream life, and we get into conversations about ETs and star nations. And like I didn't really finish my thought earlier, but when I was talking about lines on the map, I meant to talk about how, like, the dream life, you start your map locally, like with yourself, right? And then you branch out to nationally, then you branch out internationally. Now you're um, in outer space. Now you're intergalactic. Now you're just dimensional. Now you're multi-dimensional. You're connecting with all these petals on a flower, and it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. Is what I was trying to say earlier. And your when you bring your dream life and your waking life, you can weave through that. And you know what? I'm just noticing that my light, it's turning blue, red, yellow. I love that setting, but no wonder you're having a hard time seeing me there. I thought it was on the dark side because in the morning, as part of my discipline, um, I like to have the lights, they got to stay dim for me. It's just too bright and shiny. It stings my eyes. It makes me irritable. It does not help me stay in that sleepy state. So in the morning when I wake up, um, I don't like to turn my computer on right away and have a big light flashing in my face, but I do like to get my meditation going, especially just for a time measurement in the background, because I like to slip into timelessness. And I mentioned that in the discipline video. You don't want to have to, like, keep checking the time. You want to give yourself a good 2, 3 hours so you can go to the bathroom, make your coffee, get your contacts in, feed your dog, let the dog out, do what you need to do. But you're by no means officially starting the day, right? And that's the discipline too, because sometimes I wake up and I'm like, I got something that I got to take care of. And I do that right away because I know I'm not going to be able to focus on my dream journaling until I take care of that. And those days are typically bad days, and I have to take them as they are, and I got to deal with my realities. And that's part of my dream journaling. Tomorrow morning, first thing when I wake up, me and my spirit guides, instead of dream journaling, we're going to get onto, like, online banking and figure out my bill situation and check off list that email that I got to send and make that phone call right at 8:30 a.m., setting my alarm so I can get that checked off my list. And then on days like that, even though I didn't dream journal, the day before, I was talking about it in my dream journal. Then it happened. Then the next day, I'm going to talk about in my dream journal how I didn't dream journal yesterday because I took care of this and that, and now I feel better because of it. There's always much to say. What I'd like to do now is if anybody has any questions or comments, pop them in the chat. I will get to them. I want to share with you a little bit about my routine. It's always changing. So, depending on when you talk to me, it could have changed. But I don't change it every like day. I change it every maybe few months. I'll add something, take something away. I might spend more time on something. It's kind of like when I was a teacher, we would do these this thing. It was called Daily Five. Uh, it basically meant each day you do five things. Great. Well, you know what? In September, especially the first like week of school, that is not realistic. So what you do is you do what's called a daily one. So the whole class, you're just doing one thing, good for you. Now you get really good at that routine. Of course, prioritizing social emotional learning. Now you do a daily two. Okay, now you're doing daily two. So everybody does activity one and then everybody does activity two. You get really good at that, and then you introduce um, group A and group B. Group A is going to do activity one simultaneously while group B does activity two, and then you switch. Then you start introducing daily three, um, so on and so forth. And so I've always been passionate about public education. I was a teacher for 20 years. The point is, though, this daily five business, you can apply it to your dream journaling, especially if you're new. And you might be doing like a daily 500, whatever floats your boat. Do what works for you, try new things. And you'll notice that, you can take all my tips and tricks all you want, but I always strive to leave it open ended because yes, you can borrow my ideas, you can copy exactly what I do. Today, I was highlighting Alberto's book. If you wanted to read, because I'm always opening sacred space, I love sharing my knowledge. Um, these are the resources where I'm getting my information from. So you can stand and deliver like I did this morning with the invocation, but you always want to make it your own. And that's something that I've always appreciated with the late Ted Andrews. Huge fan of Ted Andrews because he would talk about, cultural appropriation, but he had that teacher mentality in the teaching world: beg, steal, borrow. That's the mantra: beg, steal, borrow, beg, steal, borrow, because teachers are strapped for resources, they're strapped for time. Beg, steal, borrow. That looks like a fun activity. I don't even teach that class, but I'm going to photocopy it anyways. You know, um, maybe it'll come in handy. And we tend to do that um, with things like prayers and songs and ritual and religion and routine, and we don't even realize that we're doing something that's not culturally appropriate. So if you find me ever doing something culturally not appropriate, please kindly let me know because I am coming from a place of intention where I'm striving, not trying because it's trying to be trying, I'm striving to make things my own, right? So, and that's part of the dream journaling too. Um, so, anyways, a comment I wanted to make earlier was when you're dream journaling, this discipline, the first thing I do is, I give my snuggles to Rosie and that kind of stuff, but I'm pretty quick about getting the music on. And honestly, I don't want to look at my laptop. It's too bright. It's just too bright. So if you're not aware, there is a button on your laptop. It looks like a sun. Um, and there's a bigger one and a smaller one. And one of them dims the light And so this happens to me a lot because then I go live and I'm having Zoom meetings and I'm like, well, how come it's so dark? It's because I didn't turn it back up. And if you want to turn it back up, you can. So that's something to be mindful of because the last thing you want to do is dream journal and feel irritable because the bright lights, right? You want to do what works for you. So um, right now in my life, I'm striving for excellence with controlled remote viewing. And that is totally not dream journaling. And so my brain, I joined Lynn Buchanan's controlled remote viewing December 2024. It's now August 2025. My brain has had to like shift and shift and shift and shift and shift because in controlled remote viewing, there's this thing called castle building. And castle building is basically dream journaling. And so in control remote viewing, you're not supposed to do castle building. So um, that was really hard for me to do. And then now that I'm getting into the swing of controlled remote viewing, because I had to give myself tough love. And in controlled remote viewing, we talk about rewarding yourself, right? Hi, Isaac. Good to see you. In controlled remote viewing, we talk about rewarding yourself, giving yourself a sugary treat, right? And I was like, well, I'm going to reward myself with dream journaling. And so sometimes I have these days where I just can't control remote view for the life of me because I recognize a pattern now. I have not rewarded myself with dream journaling. So my subconscious mind is like, "Psh, no, we need our reward. We require a positive reinforcement. So if you're like me and you're maybe you were a controlled remote viewer and now you're trying to do dream journaling for a change. Or maybe you were like me and you were very engrossed in your dream journaling. Maybe you weren't calling it dream journaling. That's basically what you were doing. Um, you can see how the conscious mind and the subconscious mind are just like it's like two magnets, like two negative magnets trying to come together, but they can't because they're repelling. They're the same magnets. I feel like that's kind of going on. Like my conscious mind and my subconscious mind, it's like I see you, but I can't get to you. So let me know in the comments if you can relate. So my routine has changed respectfully because of that. Um, so what I do now is I do my controlled remote viewing session and I do other things that I check off my list, like working out and that kind of stuff, doing some movement, because I've come to realize it won't get done. It won't. I can, aim for it, but it doesn't get done. And if it does get done, it's not as effective as that morning start. So I have a routine now where after I'm finished controlled remote viewing, I get to reward myself with dream journaling. And then that reward carries on with my shamanic practice with the four winds. So um, there's space to dream and go beyond. And that's what I'm all about. So part of my routine is um, Qigong and Quriyin. So I had a regression session with Dr. Amir Jahangiri, and he gifted me um, some resources by Francois Lapine. And so I'm working with that now in my dream journal. Um, this isn't my dream journal. This is just a notebook with notes specifically about Qigong. And so each morning I read over the mantras and I found myself to be way in over my head because I already had controlled remote viewing on the go and I already had other things on the go. My problem, again, this video is dedicated to discipline. My problem is I have too much on the go, and then in a positive way, I'm overwhelmed, but then in a negative way, I'm not like getting through the material, right? And so I just have a little checklist that I do, and that checklist includes some breathing. So I know you can't see these like very clearly, but just, normal breathing. I do it 3 times. I do it standing up. It's really not a big deal. And you know what? It is helpful. It's helpful. And if you're breathing better, you're dreaming better, right? There's reversed breathing. I'm not there yet. And I'm very ambitious. I set the bar very high. I'm not there yet. Why? Because I'm committed to dream journaling and controlled remote viewing. This is like a fun thing that's going to build over time. So it's just part of my routine. I read over the mantras. I say them with a mirror. Then I do the air and energy breathing technique. My intention isn't to teach you cutie in or the energy breathing technique. I'm just sharing with you the discipline, at least this 2025 year that has unfolded for me. Um, and I I feel the energy in my body. And um, so when you do this technique, you inhale the white prana. It goes in. You fan the cutie and flame. There's not too much going on, but there's a lot going on energy wise, and the breathing, clearing out your system. And so the point I want to make is that when you're dream journaling and you have the discipline and you incorporate things like movement and breathing, saying some special mantras, reviewing your goals, that this is all part of having a healthy lifestyle. And you know what? The first thing you do when you're born is breathe. And the last thing you do before you die is breathe. And when it comes to I'm remembering a thought I didn't finish earlier. I tend to get a bit ahead of myself. Um, when it comes to living consciously and dying consciously, um, women who are menstruating, basically, when the animal world, the mammals, when we're done reproducing, we die. Life is over. Yet, there's only 3 species: Homo sapiens sapiens, dolphins, and the orcas. They live well beyond their reproduction years. Why? And it's arguably because we're part of a great experiment. Who's experimenting with us? It's possible the kingdoms like bacteria, mycelium, and it's possible that that's our sacred relationship um, with these kingdoms, and these kingdoms very well lineages, if you want to think about that. And so this real life scientific information bridges with the dream world themes that are going on now. Myself personally, I don't like to get hung up on science, and that's the lesson Hummingbird always teaches us, because we learn that by taking the flight, it's the only way to develop our wings. And year after year, hummingbirds defy science because they fly from Canada to Brazil, and they're not even built to fly, and yet they take these great journeys, right? So that's you, the dream journeyer, and having the discipline like hummingbird to go on that flight and to set yourself up for success. Now, hummingbird doesn't worry about where hummingbird's going to find nectar. That's because you, the hummingbird, you know where to go find your school supplies. So you have to have the discipline, like hummingbird, even though you're flying and you're, getting your miles in, you do need to rest, and you do need to eat, and you do um, need to put the social emotional first. And that's why this is important. I used to be in a dance class. I was at the intermediate advanced level, and in I wasn't doing this before, so I would do my dance practice and working out. Just even doing range of motion, 1, 2, 3, like doing this 8 times forward, 8 times back. Um, I would have days where I would wake up right away and dream journal, and then I would have days where I would work out first. And most of the time, it worked out for me when I worked. Oh, excuse me, when I would dream journal and I would get all my thoughts out and organized, and then I would do my workout dance routine, and then I would be nice and sweaty and gross, and I'd go and shower, and then I'd eat. Initially, when I was first doing this, it was better for me to work out first because I just felt like I was pissed off and I needed to move around. So I couldn't think about my thoughts because I was clouded with pissed off thoughts. And I just felt like I needed to move. So might as well work out. But then I started to notice that I wasn't having a good workout because even though I was working out and okay, check off list, I did the dance routine and the warm up, my mind wasn't consciously working out. I was physically working out, but mentally I wasn't there. So then I had to switch my routine up, do the dream journaling thing, and then do the working out thing. And that ended up being better for me. So the point is, your routine can change. Have the discipline to stay disciplined and to maintain a routine, but have the discipline to change it up as well. So, so my routine incorporates that. And right now, I'm just focused on the root chakra, and I'm not overthinking it. Eventually, I'll get to the second one. Good for me, right? There's other things that I do in the morning. I talk about that in the discipline video, but I wanted to show you something special because today I was disciplined. I was doing my controlled remote viewing, just some practicing. And I said to myself, okay, when you're done controlled remote viewing, um, I do this fun thing where I just dream journal. So I'll write down my thoughts. Usually I draw a picture, and the pictures I draw are very hopeful. And I drew this. So this was my reward dream journaling, and it's just one page, and that's okay. Sometimes it's a lot longer, but it's the length is inconsequential. It's all about the quality. And there's, it's kind of personal. There's a lot of meaning to this, but it was messages full of hope and about flying wingtip to wingtip with eagle condor and about how, you know, like the power animals, they dream too. They dream with us. They are us. And as your dream journals unfold, you'll connect with power animals and spirit guides. Now, the four winds, the shamanic training that I have, they have designated animals: eagle, condor, snake, jaguar, hummingbird. But other cultures out there have, butterfly instead of hummingbird. And then some people, like Ted Andrews, they're like, you know what? I like these ideas, these concepts. I'm going to borrow this idea and create my own. Um, Animals to represent. And so, again, make sure you're keeping things culturally appropriate and make it your own, right? Really own it. Um, so I'm owning my own ideas while I'm falling back on information provided to me. And information that was provided to me was that eagle condor is all about perspective, right? Zooming in, zooming out, weaving between roles, rights, and responsibilities. Eagle Condor, very strong message about applying the knowledge and passing it down, right? So in my own personal life, my dream world, my waking world, there's this connection with um, folks who are wise and well, grandmothers, and this lack of grandmothers and grandparents because of old biological cycles where basically, like I mentioned earlier, when you are no longer reproducing in the mammalian world, you're not considered valuable anymore. It's lights out for you. You need to be reproducing or it's lights out. But now, Homo sapiens sapiens, dolphins, orcas are living well beyond those reproductive years. And me and my own menstruational blood, like those themes are all connecting. It is not a coincidence that eagle condor medicine was recently reiterated to me in my shamanic training. Um, it's not a coincidence that the part about not just flying wingtip to wingtip with eagle condor, but there's this business of magnets. I even mentioned magnets earlier when I kicked off this video here, but in my life, the personal dreams and the other realities, scientific fact, people just sharing their own story medicine, it's bridging into here. And so this was really beautiful because, okay, there's another one here. I better hurry up because I still got to do fire ceremony with you. Um, this one here, um, Alberto has mentioned a number of times that when you're trying to make that quantum leap, you're not supposed to think about it, and that's hard for us. You're supposed to dream it. Of course, that's easier said than done, right? But this is how you do it. Your dream journals and your story medicine, and so Eagle Condor with the perspective and making this quantum leap. It's kind of like Eagle Condor is that conscious observer, that third eye perspective. And if I'm understanding things correctly, that's what Alberto's talking about when he's talking about you just hand over your hopes and dreams to the universe, hand them over, to Eagle Condor, and then Eagle Condor um, organizes that into like a mandala or an image, a story that can manifest into 3D reality, no different than iron filings being organized by a magnet. And it's so, ah, I almost feel emotional in this moment because, like, that punchline, the magnets, I mean, the iron filings being organized by a magnet, and then this image of Eagle Condor, I was like, oh my God, like, that's what my dreams are telling me that I'm in the process of being organized like iron filings. uh so so I required the story medicine of the shamans to help me make these connections. I required conversations and openness with other folks in the shamanic community. I required an openness to hear about what folks like Alberto had to say. My intention is not to teach you about shamanism. Take the Four Winds Energy Practitioners Medicine Training. Take Lynn Buchanan's Controlled Remote Viewing. I'll see you bi-weekly on Saturdays. Like, a part of me doesn't want you to take the viewing because I mean I get to have time within that questions. But I want to show you another quick picture. And since this is a bonus, hey, if we go into overtime, we go into overtime. But I offer one promised video each month, and that one it's committed to an hour. This is a bonus one. So this was another image that I drew. Of course, after I did my controlled remote viewing, I rewarded myself with dream journaling. And I'm finding just extra information. I need to do controlled remote viewing in the morning or it's not going to happen. And I find it to be more effective first thing in the morning as well. And that's why at this point in my life, I'm doing that before dream journaling. So let me know if you can relate in the comments. Um, and also, just a note on discipline. I need to be disciplined not to take on more disciplines. Like this is enough, right? So, so this is another dream, a reoccurring dream that I've had for a number of years, and it intensifies. So in this dream, um, I'm at this, it's always dark black sky. There's never any lights. It's like before electricity days, and I'm with folks and we're at the beach. And it's just like we're right there at the shoreline. And these are not children. Some of them are tall and skinny, some are short and stocky, some are short and skinny. It's just like people different sizes, and they're not people. That's the thing. They're different people species. Um and that in itself freaked me out. And um so I usually just wake up from this dream based on that. But then over the years, they know I'm freaked out. So they're like, we're going to appear formless, but we're here, but not here, kind of in your peripheral. So I haven't seen like a clear picture of them, but this is like the image, just kind of stick looking people. And these people, these people, folks, are the same group that a handful of years ago now, not in my dreams, in my waking life, it's like Peter Pan. I sense them across the street up in the air. And I've mentioned this before. And it led me down a rabbit hole of who are these folks? And I was wondering, like, are they me? Are they deceased? Because I don't know how I know. I just know that they're not deceased. But I keep asking if they're deceased because they're formless. And I can tell, I don't know how, but I can tell that they have bodies. So it's like, are these lost souls? They don't have a body? Are these people dreaming? And then I started learning about things like channeling. And I thought, oh, like maybe these are folks coming to channel with me and I'm aware of them. And um, then it was communicated to me that they were my allies. And it was also communicated to me that they're not interested in having sex with me. I guess I was thinking about sex. Okay. And that they are not my friends. And that hurt my feelings because I thought, oh, like I'm finally connecting with you and you're not my friends. Great. And you don't want to have sex with me. I guess that's good too. Um, but they could tell that, I guess, I shouldn't say I guess, they could read my mind and my energy, and they could infer meaning, and they could tell that I was scared of them. I was afraid to go with them. I was afraid to be raped. I was afraid to have my an experience and then stories like my memory be wiped. I don't watch scary movies. Why would I have these ideas? Why would I be like, like when my dream life is bridging with my waking life, like in my dream life they're here on the shore, but in my waking life they're there across the street. So life goes on, and then um, I join. Um, um, Wait, before I joined controlled remote viewing, life goes on, and I start using the star tracker. And if you follow me on social media, you'll see it's called Star Tracker. It's free, so that's why I use it. You can pay more money and it'll give you extra information about astrology, but I just liked it for the images. And so there I am on my phone, and I, see the moon and I see the constellations, and I'm learning the map of the stars. And so these folks now in my dreams more, right? And these folks, when I started like not being so terrified of them, they would um, tell me that they're showing me where I live. And I'm like, okay, cool, and like my lineage, where I'm from. And they would point to Orion and other places. You'll see Orion's belt, Betelgeuse, the red, the big sun. star and it's red on the left shoulder and okay, yeah, and a Big Dipper, Little Dipper, yep, yep, North Star, yep, good, 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 I get this. And then all of a sudden, I don't know what would happen, but it would just we're there, and then time and space would just flip and rotate and go upside down, and it comes to a point where it's just too overwhelming, it's too much, it's too fast, I feel lost, I feel scared, I want out, and I wake up. And it also freaked me out that the images in my waking life, like the star tracker, was in my dream. And for what it's worth, even after all these years, right here, right now, if you're like, Gina, draw me a map of the stars, Orion, this, that, Gemini, Cancer, Leo, like I'm getting to know it, but I don't know it well enough to just do it, right? But in my dream, it was all very chronologically mapped out. It was all there. And so um, these folks, when I started controlled remote viewing, they immediately began overwhelming me. They got really excited. And then I went through a phase and I shared this, not all this, but I shared with the controlled remote viewers that I know it sounds bizarre, but I was afraid to be successful because if I'm successful, that means I could bring missing children and missing soldiers home. And why would anybody be afraid of that? And I think it's because we're all psychic and this is real. Controlled remote viewing is real. Marissa Peer's rapid transformational therapy, hypnotherapy is real. Dream journaling and bridging your waking life with your dream life is real. And you don't have to be afraid. What's scary is that this is not familiar to us. And so, whew, wasn't expecting to go there, but this is the story medicine I'm talking about. I had to go through this whole process just to get on the right wavelength so I can be in right relationship with me first and foremost, and then with others. And so it's just like, Matthew Morian, he wrote a phenomenal book and he titled it the most phenomenal title. I always say that. I don't even know if I told him. I'm going to have to tell him because I always say this, but he called his book something like Imagine You're Not Crazy and You're Psychic, something like that. Or Imagine You're Psychic and You're Not Crazy. And that just stuck with me because I remember those two angels coming out of my wall when I was in grade 2. Crazy, right? So this is powerful medicine, very, very powerful, powerful medicine, because it's real. And the things that are real scare us. And it's just odd to think that. And so, going back to this picture, like both of these pictures, this one and this one, uh, these were powerful, powerful dream journals for me. And a picture is always worth 1,000 words. So sometimes it's just better to do a picture, and sometimes it's just, better to write. It, like, this is real. You cannot deny the synchronicities. It's not a coincidence. So I urge you, Dragon Dreamers, there's a free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective. Post your pictures of your dream journals, even if they don't make sense. because in years from now, you're going to be making connections and be like, my God, that was so clear, but I didn't know my own dream dictionary. I didn't know those symbols, right? So this one, just to rewind, this one is like powerful because whoever these allies are, they're in communication with me in my dream life and my waking life. And I'm not afraid anymore. And so this morning, um, I told them like next time you folks come visit me in my dreams, because I have a rule. I'm not going anywhere. I don't give a fuck who you tell me you are. I'm not going with you. Stranger danger in 3D reality, right? But in my dream life, these folks are respecting me. Maybe they're wiping my mind and telling me lies, who knows? But I'm working with biology belief that they're respecting me. These are somehow folks connected to me. And when things are going too fast and I'm scared, I'm too far from planet Earth, I don't know if I can get back. They immediately, I wake up, it's fine, it's cool. I told them this morning, I want to go next time. That's the intention. So um, it's important for me to share that with you because maybe it'll happen tonight, maybe it'll happen in a few months, a few years. It seems like these folks, they come in every little bit, and then I can update you on that. And then it verifies and validates my story medicine because I'm going to be like, hey, Dragon Dreamers, remember when I was talking about this picture? Well, now I know this information or whatever. And so this is me. This is like us at the beach. And I'm like, way over here as per usual. But now I'm like flying with them. And up here, it's like Orion's belt and Betelgeuse and um, I think it's Saturn. I might have my planets confused, but usually like there's a planet hanging around there, and there's like the Rosetta um, uh, galaxy. And I don't know the map of the stars, but like that's another thing too. There's a need for me to educate myself on the map of the stars because of this bridging of my dream life and my waking life. And if this could help me become a better controlled remote viewer, that to me is very powerful. That's the Venn diagram. One circle plus one circle, you got all these circles. How are these circles connecting through these experiences? Um, this one here, I never actually told you what it meant, but this rainbow is me. And yeah, the power animals are all around. The emphasis is on eagle condor, and I'm flying wingtip to wingtip with eagle condor. And the wise and well wheel and orca elders, they're there and they're harmonizing my song, harmonizing, and that harmonization, um, that's me in my dream life linking to Alberto's shamanic teachings about eagle condor organizing the intentions that we hold, just like a magnet organizing iron filings. And so I'm being organized. All right. you know. Hopefully my husband's in there. Don't know who he is, but he's one hell of a man, I'll tell you that much. So lots to say. The focus on today was on discipline. Um, So keep me updated on your dream journals, even if they don't make any sense. It's important because then a story just like I shared today, which is not a coincidence. Nothing is coincidence because I was wondering, like, what am I going to talk about today? So I figure, well, I'll talk about discipline because that was the first video. And if anybody tunes in live and has information to share about their dream journals, well, I'm available. That's how this bonus time works. But then this morning, all those images came because I needed to tell you that. I needed to role model it to you. I needed to show you my vulnerability. Um, somebody was making fun of me, and they were like, you're not going to get clients or anything like that, Gina, because you're always crying and being emotional. And it's like, well, clearly you don't really know me, and clearly you haven't been following me, because I'm the kind of person that I used to have a really hard time crying. I was very emotionally just disconnected, because when I felt like crying, it's, not time to cry. You have to go to work and you need to put your smile on or you're not going to get hours, right? So, um, the false inhibiting beliefs, the story medicine, me relating to directly, that's what's important. And that's the pull energy here, right? If you feel the pull, it's because you know what I'm talking about. You relate to me and you're into things like the Akashic records, dream alchemy, moon cycles, and most of all, knowing that you are in charge of your story. And that's why I'm so passionate about what I do. And finally, Dragon Dreamers, finally, I get to do these memberships with you. And there's nothing else that I would rather do. There really is nothing else that I'd rather do. Part of me is like, let's do a gemstone reading, but we got to stay focused. We got to stay focused. So, those of you catching the replay, let me know in the comments what you're thinking and feeling. There's a lot to be said about discipline, going through the motions. Maybe you made an investment on some nice candles and they're not even burning nicely, something like that. Let us know. Share your frustrations, right? Bitching and complaining is one thing, but part of the story medicine is talk therapy. And talk therapy can become toxic, right? If you're in talk therapy for like 20 years, clearly you're just handing your money over. You're not solving your problems. You require mind reprogramming, or you need to take it to the next level and leave it to the shaman to journey on your behalf, pulling off that snake skin, soul retrieval, illuminations, extractions, and whatnot. So the power is in its simplicity. And I wanted to remind you about the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. We can live consciously together, folks. We can co dream and we can die consciously. And you know what? If you don't die consciously for some random reason, if the biological one known as Gina is still alive, well, you know what? You just come and find me, because I have a special way of knowing now. And if you're in ghosty form, I guess I can't charge you any money. So, but it just my own level of comfort joking around about the ghosties. Um, Something I never thought I would do. I used to have the spooks, and recently I learned about Jaguar having the spooks. And as soon as I heard that story, I thought that that was me. That was me, just randomly, because we're going into overtime. This is a bonus, right? Um, I remember a handful of years ago, I was like, I'm facing my fear because I've got the spooks, right, about spirits, and I'm tired of this. And then I was part of the Four Winds Shaman 21 community, and we would meet for the full moon, and we would also share stories. And everybody was sharing these stories about the Rainbow Bridge and these beautiful experiences, in particular with Jaguar. And I was like annoyed and frustrated. And I participated and told it like it is. And I shared how I was terrified of Jaguar. And I shared a little bit about an experience that I had. It was a dream, a lucid dream. It seemed very, very real. Was it a lucid dream? Was it another reality? Yes. I feel like I was somewhere else. Um, and why was it scary when it shouldn't be? And and then like some time went, and anyway, I was like bawling my eyes out, right, on this webinar. And that's when I was encouraged to become a shaman formally with the Four Winds, because I was being stalked by the power animals. And it's like telling somebody who has the spooks that they're being stalked by power animals. It wasn't helpful at the time, because it um, validated that that, yeah, it's real. It's real. And that's why I got emotional earlier. This is real. It's real. It really is real. And you can connect with these energies. And then it was funny because a handful of months went by and I still had the spooks, but I was in a better place. And so I wanted to participate and update the membership. And I was feeling a bit shy. And I was like, I don't know if anybody remembers, but I was on here a few months ago or whatever. And I started crying, blah, blah, blah. And everybody, because in the Zoom meetings, you got it on gallery view, and everybody was like, yeah, we remember you. And so I just think about that, because little did I know at that time there was a whole community of shamans holding space for me that they got it. They got it. They get it, right? So if you're receiving this message today, like, I get it. I get it. I know what it's like to be afraid of the dark. I know what it's like to be afraid of my own dreams. I know what it's like to be like those two angels that came out of my wall. My world didn't make sense anymore. I didn't make sense anymore. So I lovingly invite you to check out my resources. They're free on my YouTube, and there's a wonderful resource. It's something that I used in my real life, and now it's just available to you. And that's how tools work. Like whatever worked for me, I share with you, right? About how to bridge your dream life with your waking life. So you can find that resource in the free Facebook group. And if you want to get on any merchandise for that matter, or buy me a coffee, I urge you to join Dream Alchemist, because Dream Alchemist is the membership that has all of the memberships in it. My prices are going up significantly 2026. That's part of my dream journal. There's folks charging $3,000 for 1 hour, and that makes me feel uncomfortable because my intention is to help folks who are like me. And I know I don't have $3,000 for 1 hour. Like, what's going on here? And so I'm working with whole energy, and my prices are affordable because I know exactly what it's like to think and feel that things aren't available to me. And that's why I'm striving to provide you with free opportunities to engage. And if you would like to take it a step further, to have a paid membership. And you know what? When you have a paid membership in a positive way, you have some healthy pressure on yourself because you make the commitment, right? So some of my mentors are upset with me because my prices are so low. And I tell them, you know what, even though my prices are low, I'm getting a lot of feedback that they're still too high. And they keep telling me, do not lower your prices. You're not in right relationship. This is part of a redirection weeding process. And in my Facebook group, the numbers have fluctuated. I've turned a lot of people off, especially with my period blood, and especially um, maybe with my views in my books about extraterrestrials and interesting dreams that I've had, and that's absolutely okay. I'm working with pull energy. I'm pulling in the soul tribe. So if you're like me, um, you don't have to be haunted by power animals stalking you. That's probably why you're afraid of the dark, because interesting spiritual things are happening to you. And if it gets really freaky, it's possible that that's not even spirit, that that's some kind of technology or another Homo sapien sapien hybrid. BT. I mean, I'm open. I don't want to get hung up on categories, right? Just like those two angels. Those weren't angels. So let's close our sacred space. We're 21 minutes into overtime. And those of you who are just tuning in, this is a bonus. So, in the bonus, you're getting bonus time. But um, Dream Alchemist is the membership that offers all the memberships. It's the best dragons deal out there. And once a month, I meet with Dragon Dreamers to go over their dream journals, and I review one of the lessons that I did. Today I was reviewing the video about discipline. Um, so that is available to you. And the rest of the Thursdays in the month, right now it's Thursdays, that might change in 2026, but the rest of the weeks, if I'm available, then absolutely I'm hopping on here and meeting with you. And that's what today was a bonus. So before I talk your ears off, let's close some sacred space. And I'm just seeing Isaac. He's like, "You okay, Gina?" Yep. I'm just reading your comment now, Isaac. Maybe you was crying there. Maybe you're like on Facebook, YouTube, scrolling around. Then you're like, "What? Now she's crying. What's going on?" So you'll have to catch the replay. I got emotional because controlled remote viewing is real. Controlled remote viewers, they bring home missing children, missing soldiers, right? That is real. And it's scary because it's unfamiliar. How come everybody's not a controlled remote viewer? We can get into conversations about how we were severely abused as a species. We don't talk about that content in controlled remote viewing. That's me adding my 2 cents and my lens, the bridging of the world and my own perspectives. And Isaac 9 is also saying, "Good live, have a good day, keep shining, sister." And then he's got big smiley faces. You too, Isaac. I haven't seen you in a while. Nice for you to join in today. If you're like Isaac, I hope you have sweet dreams tonight and draw a picture, post it in the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective. This time for real, let's close sacred space. So I'm going to be collecting those spoils of light. Is reaching down below you, around your feet, in front of you, behind you, picking up those golden foils. There they go, up, 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 back to me. Your sacred space, closing, just like a zipper. It's done. And now my own Wiracocha, closing my sacred space. Out of timelessness. Maybe that's why we went into overtime. We were in timelessness. And I want to thank Snake for helping us to let go. I want to thank Jaguar for helping us to transform and transcend. I want to thank Hummingbird for reminding us to only drink the finest nectar, for we are the finest nectar. And to Eagle Condor, so much Eagle Condor medicine for me personally. And I've been working with Jaguar energy for a number of years now. This shift in perspective, and even my own shifting of the lens, and having opportunities like today to connect with Dragon Dreamers. Also thankful for Pachamama, Mother Earth, Father Sun, Grandmother Moon, and Star Nations. My guides, Polaris, Amanda Toby, the goddess Bridget, the wise and well whale and their pet elders, and to all the dragon dreamers who are tuning in, catching the replay, even in 500 years from now. Let me know in the comments how this resonates with you. Something I forgot to do was fire ceremony. Let's just sneak that in. Something that you want to let go. I always share. So you share in the comments, even if you're catching the replay, something you want to let go. You just blow it in here. Anything and anything that you want to let go. Any emotions in your bodies, any physical, mental, anything and everything that you would like to let And if you don't have a stick at home, you can twist up a paper or just say it out loud. Say it out loud to own it. If there's people around you, okay, say it in your head. Whisper it if you can. My stick here is going to pick it up. I also now have a little stick here. Things that you're grateful for. Anything that you're grateful for. And I want to remind you, even myself, I need a reminder every now and then. When it comes to being grateful for something, it doesn't have to be this big blowout experience. Anything. The metal that created these earrings, person who made them, the truck that brought these earrings here. Anything. It doesn't have to be big and grand experiences. The very screws holding the planks of wood together in this home. Thankful for being fierce, feeling the fear and doing it anyways. All right, I got my can here. Let me know in the comments if you're using a can or if you have water, or maybe you've got a nice fireplace and you throwing in a log. Gonna burn this here. This is the death arrow. Things that we're letting go. It's still amber. Oh, it's out. Things that we're grateful for. Death arrow. So you just mindfully don't want to breathe on it. Let it naturally go out or drop it if it gets close to your fingers. Right. It's out. All about intention. So it's okay that we did that a little bit backwards. Ideally, I would have liked to have done fire ceremony first. So thank you so much for joining me today. This was your bonus that had an extra half hour bonus time with you. Otherwise, I do like to honor the hour that we have together. Time is an illusion, but you know what I mean. Not for us biologicals. My name is Gina Virginia Casella. Thank you so much for joining me today. You can discover all about me on my website, ginavirginiacasella.com. It's there for you in the description. And I would absolutely love for you to join the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dream Soul Tribe Collective. Pretty please with sugar on top. Post your dream journals. Post a 1 minute to 3 minute video. If you just want to post a picture, that's fine. But start. I want you to take over and just absolutely saturate the discussion with your pictures and insight about your dream journal. I would love for you to join the free Facebook group, the Dragon Dreams Soul Tribe Collective. And I would absolutely adore if you registered for one of my memberships. I highly recommend Dream Alchemist. That's this one that you're tuning into right now. It includes all of the memberships and it's got phenomenal bonuses, lots of bonuses available to you. All right. Have yourselves a great day, Dragon Dreamers. And I'm really looking forward to those dream journals. Cheers to alchemy and cheers to dreams.